I'm McMannus. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I'm an MMA fighter. You know, I've always liked fighting and training and the martial arts, but work and school always got in the way. It wasn't until I became the strength and conditioning coach of Indiana State football team, and I had access to this gym and people who train, such as Jason Winkle, who was a martial arts instructor here and used to be a combatives instructor at West Point. It was then, when I started training with him, that I decided to pursue a career in MMA. You know, there's only so much you can do to prepare for a fight. I'll lift, I'll condition, a lot of strength, power work. We'll do sprints, wrestling, our groundwork, striking, a lot of sparring. We'll train in different conditions like pool, the stadium, sand work. I'll watch footage from my opponent's last fights to try to prepare for his style. And before you know it, it's go time. I currently hold an instructor ranking in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm very experienced in Greco-Roman, a lot of Muay Thai, which is probably my best. Some boxing, some Jeet Kune Do principles, but I really don't have a belt in anything. I like to consider myself a very experienced white belt. My first MMA fight was pretty fun and pretty nerve-wracking, actually. Me and a good friend of mine decided we were going to do it together, so we started training really hard, 6 days a week, twice a day leading up to the fight. It was a stadium setting with a couple thousand people there. A lot of friends and family came, including my girlfriend, so I was pretty nervous. Then my original opponent backed out, so they gave me an option to fight either a 260-pound guy or a 230-pound guy. So I let my coach decide, and of course he wound up picking the 260-pound guy. So I became even more nervous. I walked out of the building a couple different times, just trying to gather myself, and then finally when it was go time, my song came on and the nerves faded away. I kind of straightened up, stood a little taller, and walked out there, touched gloves with the guy, and then 41 seconds later he was knocked out on the ground. You know, the reality of it is I'm just a regular guy. I wake up, I work hard, come home, spend time with my family, and repeat. I would not say I'm religious. I'm very spiritual, and I feel like in some sort of past life I was some sort of primal warrior. So I have always tried to live by the warrior code, which is not just the fighting and the training, but in the principles like being good to people, telling the truth, doing the right thing, and working hard. So I apply those things to who I am as a man as well as training.
It takes a lot of time and energy to keep an entire athletic department in shape. Indiana State head strength and conditioning coach Dave McMannus does a tremendous job chiseling out Sycamores. But before we get to this story, a quick warning. Coach McMannus' sport is pretty violent. That's because in his off time, he's a lean, mean fighting machine. We caught up with McMannus in MMA mode to watch him put the beaten in off the beaten path. MMA fighters need to be strong. They need to be tactical. But what goes through the mind?
A nice, empty feeling. It's very private, you know, you really don't think about anything, you just kind of flow.
Dave McMannus makes athletes strong for a living. He's the strength and conditioning coach at Indiana State, so his physical prowess is no surprise.
He was a competitor on the football field, he's a competitor in the weight room, he's just a physical specimen, so yeah, I was begging him to do this for years.
But it's the mental ability that's made McMannus a champion.
The heart and the mind, your body is secondary to that, and if you believe and you train that as well, you'll never be stopped.
He has the mental mindset, kind of that warrior mindset of putting in the time before you step in the ring. He understands the value of the practice time, the flight time going into the battle.
He retained his title this weekend, and it only took a minute, literally. Incredible focus before the fight. Like a lion out of his cage on the way to the ring, it was over before it started.
Come on, Dave, let's do this, man. Competition, the one-on-one, kind of the battle in there. You're by yourself. It's not a team sport. You can't get saved. It's just you and your opponent one-on-one. It's just a great, primal, pure battle.
For now, McMannus just fights for fun.
It's a hobby, you know, I have a job, go Sycamores, but this is just secondary, man. It's just something I love to do.
But you never know, because sometimes it's tough to keep the beast caged up for long. Guys, let me tell you, that intensity that came through the screen there, that's not fake.
No, we could feel it.
It was high octane in that ring. I was scared to jump up in there and shoot video. Well, you didn't know where they were turning next.
It was terrifying, honestly, just to look at it. I can't imagine being in your shoes and talking about keeping the beast caged. Kevin had to come over here and talk a little bit about this. This is right up his alley.
I first of all, I have great respect for him, but I'm not surprised they were a little scared to get up in the cage. Me personally, I would have gotten in there.
Oh, you could have taken him?
Well, I'm not saying that.
But he would have got in there.
I would have gotten in there.
Oh, yeah. Kevin can mix it up with anything. Well,
I would have tried.
You're going to mix it up with the final weather recap after the break, right?
I certainly shall.
All right, well, stay with us. We'll be right back.